So Nebraska, the thing I've been telling my guys, the Big Ten, they average over the last 3 years, actually over the last like 5 years, the Big Ten, actually 3 years, the Big Ten's averaged 9 teams in the NCAA tournament. SEC typically 5 or 6, right? And so, you don't get a chance to play a Big Ten team very often. And, their conference is always so highly recognized and highly rated. Nebraska's played one of the toughest schedules in the country. You look at their last 3 games. They've played at NC State in a 4 overtime loss. They played at Indiana, where they did a great job defensively and had a chance at Indiana. Held Indiana just like 66 points. And then they just kind of, at the end of the game against Michigan, kind of fell apart against Michigan. But you look at those 3 opponents. They'd played Creighton earlier in the year. It's like Auburn on a neutral site. That's like a breather compared to the last, 3 games, that they've had. I think Alonzo Verge is the best point that we've gone against. The kid Cole from UConn was really good. He had a big game against us. Verge is averaging 25 and 8 over the last 3 games against this amazing competition that they played against. And he's going to be a handful. McGowan's a future pro. I love what they're doing with the big kid, Derek Walker, how they're playing him. Tanaga is a deadly shooter, as is Wilcher. Webster is a real complete player. I like their personnel. I think this is a team that's probably got the second best personnel behind UConn that we played so far. So our guys have got to be excited about playing. Finals week was this week, so it was a bit of a disruptive week as far as practice is concerned. We had a couple guys out with some flu during the course of the week. We should be back full speed today as we sit here Thursday. But we had several guys out this week because of some illness. So that's kind of where we stand right now.
RBP, we'll get you started with a question from Brian Stoltz.
Hey, Bruce. Zepp has always been a good defender, but he seems to be coming on the offensive side. What have you seen from him as far as his driving ability and passing ability that makes him so unique?
You talk about Zepp?
Yes.
Zepp's just he affects winning as much as any player we have. If it's a winning play, he'll make it. If it's not, he'll pass on it. Doesn't put himself in positions to fail as a result of his, tremendous assist turnover ratio. And the reason is he wants to win. He values possessions. And he's worked really hard on his shooting. And even though his shooting percentages aren't great, I feel confident every time he looks to, take a shot. And so I think that's something you're going to continue to see. He does a good job getting the foul line. And obviously defensively, he's tenacious. He doesn't succumb to fatigue. And he plays hard for 40 minutes. And you just don't find that. You rarely find players that won't take possessions off. And he never takes a possession off.
Next up is Nathan King.
Bruce, when you're talking about a guy like Allen trying to work his way back and kind of gel back with the guys in practice, for you as a coach in the past, whether it's a guy like Sharif last year who missed part of the season, and then you're working him back, and what are some of the focal points you look for in a player like that to get him back in and get chemistry with the team before they get back on the court?
Yeah, well, part of it is to not be a distraction because we're going to be playing without him for a while. So if you focus so much on getting him back, then you wind up losing focus on what's most important, and that is getting your team ready to play. So you just put him out there and let him do what he does. But more importantly, coming back off an Achilles, it's just for Allen to get more comfortable and confident with that leg, going full speed, beginning now to get involved with a little bit of contact where you're not in complete control of your body, which we're starting to just now get some contact involved. And then just letting him get a gauge on how he's doing. When he comes back, just come back and affect the team from a standpoint of just affect winning. defensively, being productive on the offensive end, and not as many minutes early. Just, probably not going to put him out there the same number of minutes he's going to be out there in February. Just let him play and let him play hard, but not have him be out there too long where fatigue is going to be a factor, because obviously both his wind, his conditioning, as well as his legs aren't going to be there for several more weeks.
All right, a quick reminder, if you have a question for Coach, put it in the chat next to Jordan Hill.
Bruce, you mentioned some of the stuff going on this week with finals and a few guys dealing with the flu, but with this week being a little bit different without a midweek game, just how do you think everybody has handled that?
I mean, we'll find out Saturday. I think they've handled it well. Finals have been a focus. Guys have worked really hard, this semester, making progress towards degrees and achieving, as far as our GPAs are concerned. We've tried to give them time to be able to do that. And, today being Thursday was really more of our first day back where we're really focused on basketball.
Got a follow-up from Ryan Stoltz.
Bruce, we talked about Zep, but your guards seem to thrive like they usually do in your system when chaos is going on the floor. Is that something you teach, or is that something that they bring automatically, or is that just something that they learn once they get into your system?
Well, I mean, I think that if we could create some chaos on the defensive end and turn some people over, and then create some offense out of that defense and that chaos and that tempo, I think that's how we like to play. It could be hard against Nebraska because, you put you put Verge and McGowan and Webster on the floor at the same time. Tanaka could really shoot it. Wilcher, who plays 3 and 4, they can handle it. We may not be able to create much chaos because of how well, Nebraska will take care of the basketball. Their biggest challenge so far this year is they've just not shot it consistently well. And if they make shots, they're going to be really dangerous. And the reason why they've not won more is just having to be able to make some shots.
Bennett Durando.
Hey, Bruce, a couple things. First of all, I know Nebraska had their own flu issues this weekend, so just wanted to make sure that everything from both ends is pretty much set for the game to happen, that there isn't really much concern about that.
I mean, we're going to be there. I don't know. I mean, I haven't heard anything. I did read something where they had some issues with some flu. So do we. It's that. I guess it's that time of the year. But
fair enough.
I haven't heard of this.
And then you talked a little bit about Verge. What stands out to you about him and makes him such a handful?
I mean, he can get in the lane and score against anybody. Like with either hand, over the top or underneath. He's just a fantastic finisher. Old school game. I love him. He's so much fun to watch. I imagine he'd be a blast to coach too. I mean, the closer he gets to the basket, the better he looks, and that's not the case with a lot of guards. So he's got a real feel for the game, and he makes those other guys better. If they were making shots, he'd have 100 assists.
Brian Matthews.
Yeah, Bruce, you touched on Al a little bit, but just how has he looked overall? Is he where you thought he'd be, and how much does it mean to him to be back at practice, participating in whatever he's doing?
Well, again, we talked about mid to late December. We're approaching on mid. And it's great to have him back. And he gives us a chance to continue to grow and improve. We got to get ready without him right now. And at some point, I would love to get him back before LSU. I don't know whether we will. We'll do what's best as far as his health and when he's completely ready. But that's kind of what our plan. Just because to come back just right at the start of the SEC, that's a lot to ask. Love to get his feet wet a little bit if we can.
We got time for 2 more. First up is Justin Hokanson.
Hey, Bruce, you had mentioned after the last game about getting to the foul line and wanting your guys maybe to get there more or the other team to get there less. Is there anything when you watch the film, did you see anything different than what you thought about how you can maybe get there more?
Yeah, no, I know it's we our opponents have shot more, more free throws than we have. That's obviously an issue. So we got to play through contact. We got to score through contact. We got to do a better job of trying defending ourselves without fouling, be aggressive, defend without fouling. You know, I think, you know, one of two things is really simple. Either foul less or get there more, you know, to have that change. And I'm okay with the fouling less as long as we don't lose our aggression. But I would like to get there more, maybe mixing up a little bit more inside stuff to our outside game as well.